Drip. I stared at the red liquid spilling onto the floor, trying to just keep myself together. It's been a few days since my brother has gone missing, and I'm stuck here cleaning up fruit punch at this old diner. This table had a cute little family. A mom, dad, a little girl with her troublemaker younger brother. I fought back tears as I reminisced the family I used to have. Could have had. A hand rests on my right shoulder and I turn to see my coworker, Jen. "Hey girlie, how you holding up?" she asked wearily. I'm fine. Just sort of spaced out. "Here, let me get that for you," she said as she hurriedly wiped up the juice off of the table. "Any news from Lucas?" The question struck my heart like a knife. No, nothing. Nothing yet. "Well, if you need anything, just let me know, girl," Jen said reassuringly. "And if you're hungry, Bob said he'll whip up something for you and the little one," she said as she pointed over to Bob, who was grilling away quietly. "Thanks." I hate this feeling of total helplessness. I thought I was past this, but I'm still being labeled as that poor girl. But what can I say? It's always my fault, right? I'm the reason my husband's gone. I'm the reason my brother is gone. I'm the reason my baby girl Lucy doesn't have a proper family, right? These thoughts filled my every waking moment now, ever since I fell in love with a man named Jack. Drip. We were high school sweethearts. Jack was athletic and so handsome and popular, while I was known for wrangling up my younger brother, Lucas, whenever he got into trouble. But we practically grew up together. We were thick as thieves. Whenever Jack looked at me, I felt like my heart was going to soar right out of my chest. After high school, we made it official, though it was a surprise to no one. I had dreams of going to college and putting my name out here, but that was when Jack started to change. "I don't think it's a good idea," Jack said with his brow furrowed. "Well, what's the plan? What else can I do?" He sighed. "I've got it taken care of. We'll be fine." Spoiler alert, we weren't fine. Jack made poor decision after poor decision. Every get-rich-quick scheme you can think of, and every dollar turning into more debt-free years. I pleaded with him to stop, but that was when he lashed out at me. "You should have fucking stopped me," he roared at me, shaking a beer bottle in his hand. "I do this all for you, and this is how you fucking talk to me?" I flinched, waiting for the swift, callous hand to strike my face, but it didn't come. I heard the bottle clatter onto the floor and he sobbed. My heart ached. I wanted to do more, and maybe I should have done more to stop this. Months later, Lucy came into our lives, and I thought it was going to get better, until I was pregnant again. I had asked Lucas to come by the house to help me break the news to him. Lucas was an idiot, but he cared for me. He knew what was going on, but he tried. Lucy was about 2 at the time, but she was at my parents' house. Drip. "You okay, Abs?" Lucas asked. "Yeah, I'm fine. Don't be worrying about me. I'm tough stuff," I laughed. "Hey, you're gonna be okay. I promise if things get out of hand, I'll take care of it," he reassured me. Jack returned home with a case of cheap beer. He was confused at first, then angry, then angrier. Lucas intervened before anything got out of hand, but things were never the same after that. After things calmed down, Jack assured Lucas that things were okay. Lucas looked at me with such pained eyes, but I looked away. It was my fault. Jack's shoulder bumped me as he made his way to the bedroom, and he huffed under his breath. Get rid of it. So, I covered up my mistake, and we went on with our lives for another year. Lucy grew up bigger and spunkier just like I was. Lucy was playing quietly in her room, and I decided that Jack's life wasn't going to get any better as long as I was there. So I proposed we get a divorce. His face turned so red he rushed at me. I'll spare the details, but I was in bad shape afterwards. I grabbed Lucy and quickly got into my car when he was asleep, and the rest was a blur. I remember a couple of nights later Lucas calling me. He sounded so tired. He's gone, Abs, he said in a monotone voice. What are you talking about, Lucas? He sighed and paused for a few minutes. He said, He said you were right and that you should move on. I wasn't an idiot. I knew what Lucas must have done, and in that silence there was an agreement. I became an accomplice, and it was my fault. My brother was forced to do the unspeakable due to my weakness. Lucas became more distant, and I tried my best to pick up the pieces. I tried my damn best so that we could be a family. What happened next was my next grave mistake. I found Lucy in her little purple tent crying her eyes out. What's wrong, baby? I asked her in a shushing tone. I miss Daddy, Lucy whimpered. When is he coming back? My heart ached. The pain was utterly unbearable. She loved her father so much, and I took that away from her. I should have endured more for her. He's not coming back. I'm sorry, baby. It's Mommy's fault. I'm not good enough, I cried. Drip. I woke up from a dreamless sleep and I looked at my phone, hoping that Lucas would call me, telling me that everything was okay. Drip, drip. I looked down and noticed that my sheets were covered in blood, and not just my sheets. My arms and legs were covered in crimson cuts. They were all over, and they stung. How could I have not woken up from this? Drip, drip, drip. I heard a dripping sound drumming inside my skull. Lucy! I jumped up and ran into Lucy's room, but she wasn't there. Everything was a mess. The bed was flipped upside down and the walls were smashed in. Stuffed animals were torn and strewn about the floor. Lucy! I screamed, but there was no response. No trace. Where was my baby? Drip, drip, drip. Look, Mommy. Look who's home from work. I heard her whisper from the living room. I ran towards her, and she sat on the couch. Clutched in her hand was a bloodied kitchen knife, and a figure loomed behind her. His clothes were covered with dirt and crimson, and his face. He didn't have a face. Just a smashed-in, bloodied mess that gushed red everywhere. It peered down onto Lucy, and red droplets began to cover her face. Drip, 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 drip. That tickles, Daddy, she giggled. Those damn dimples shone. She had her daddy's dimples. What the actual fuck was going on? The room started to spin, but I planted my feet firmly in the carpeted floor. This thing is Jack, and he had his clutches on my baby girl again. Lucy, come over here, baby, I pleaded, but she turned to me angrily. No, Mommy. You come over here and get more punishment. Daddy said you've been bad, and he's angry at you, she growled, pointing the knife towards me. Uncle Lucas already got his punishment, and now it's your turn. My legs gave out after she said that. My baby brother. I looked around, and all I could feel was, actually, I couldn't feel anything besides regret. My fault again, the little voice in my head whispered over and over and over and over again. Drip, 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 drip. Blood gushed onto the floor with every step he took towards me. It was all my fault. I gave him this power over me, over Lucas, over Lucy. He picked her up and they began to creep towards me. So I ran, tears blurring my vision as I ran out of the house. I turned to see Jack carrying Lucy in his bloodied arms as he chased after me, red splattering everywhere. I didn't think I couldn't see, so I ran towards the forest, hoping the darkness could obscure me. I hid within the trees, holding my breath as they paced. Drip, 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 drip. Mommy, come out. Daddy says I need to cut you more, she yelled out. I tried my hardest to make myself small, to make it like I don't exist. But he has my baby girl. I couldn't let that monster take her from me. The voice in my head tried to weigh me down, but my motherly instinct pulled its way into the surface. I need to own up to what I've done. I'm tired of running away. Lucy, baby, I cried out. I'm going to tell you the truth. Daddy, Jack was not a good man. He hurt me really bad, and he hurt your uncle. And if things went on, I'm sure he was going to hurt you too. My throat began to tighten as I tried to find the words. I lied to you, Lucy, but I'll make it right. I promise. Drip, 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 drip. Jack set Lucy down, and as he did, her eyes grew in shock. She could finally see him for what he truly was, beyond the lies. He crept over towards me and raised his fists over his head, ready to bring them down upon me. I looked at Lucy again, and she started to cry. I mustered up every ounce of strength I had to dodge the heavy strike and dart towards my daughter, grabbing the knife she held. She looked up at me sorrowfully. It's not my fault, Jack. You were a piece of shit and you ruined everything. I let myself be taken advantage of by you and fucked up our family, our daughter. Not again. Never again. I yelled at him with every ounce of anger, every ounce of sorrow, every ounce of doubt I've ever had within me, and I yelled. I dashed and plunged the knife deep into his chest, into the place that held his heart, and he let out a ghastly, gargled roar as he fell onto the ground and dissipated. It was over. Everything was a mess, but I'm here, with my baby, and I'm strong enough to really pick up these pieces. I eventually got word of my brother's confession on Reddit and eventually found his camp and his body. He died hoping he could protect us, but now I'm owning up to my mistake. Jack. Fuck you, Jack. Fuck you.